Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie's rights to royal lodge hang on Prince Andrew's lease. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie's future at Royal Lodge is dependent on Prince Andrew's lease, a property expert has claimed. The Duke of York, 64, has lived in Royal Lodge, the former home of the Queen Mother, since 2003. It is a spacious 30-room mansion on the Windsor Estate, a stone's throw away from Windsor Castle. Prince Andrew shares the property with his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, also 64. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie's future at Royal Lodge is dependent on Prince Andrew's lease, a property expert has claimed. Welcome to Royal Pancakes. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe and click the notifications bell, so you don't miss any news about the British monarchy. The Duke of York, 64, has lived in Royal Lodge, the former home of the Queen Mother, since 2003. It is a spacious 30-room mansion on the Windsor Estate, a stone's throw away from Windsor Castle. Prince Andrew shares the property with his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, also 64. Beatrice and Eugenie's future at Royal Lodge is dependent on Andrew's lease. King Charles is understood to be eager for his younger brother to move out of Royal Lodge and into Frogmore Cottage, the former home of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. But the Duke of York wants to leave the property, which he leases from the Crown Estate, as an inheritance for his daughters, Beatrice, 36, and Eugenie, 34. Natalie Mitchell, a property expert from HomeHow, spoke exclusively to GB News to explain how Beatrice and Eugenie will be able to inherit the Windsor home, despite it being leased from the Crown Estate. She explained, as long as it's agreed and written in the lease, Prince Andrew can pass Royal Lodge on to Beatrice and Eugenie for the rest of the term. As part of his 75-year lease, the Duke of York agreed to maintain Royal Lodge. What rights one daughter has over another would be down to what's stated in the lease itself. What happens after that will depend on what the King and the Crown Estates Board agree to, but it mustn't breach the Crown Estate Act 1961. The Act has a list of restrictions in place, including selling any part of the estate or creating leases that are longer than 150 years. Earlier this year it was claimed that Beatrice and Eugenie are permitted to inherit Royal Lodge, as per the terms of the Duke of York's lease. The report in the Times claimed, rather than a grace and favour residence, Royal Lodge is let under a commercial lease agreement with the Crown Estate. Andrew paid an initial £1 million with a notional rent understood to be £260,000 a year. If the Duke dies, the lease can only pass to named members of his immediate family. As Prince Andrew's lease states that named members of his immediate family could one day live in Royal Lodge, this would almost certainly be his two daughters. Princess Eugenie and Princess Beatrice go out of their way to look after Prince Andrew, a royal commentator has claimed. The Duke of York, 64, stepped back from royal duties after his 2019 Newsnight interview resulted in a huge public backlash. Prince Andrew has since spent the majority of his time staying at Royal Lodge, his home since 2003. His ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, also lives at the Windsor property, despite divorcing the Duke in 1996. Andrew's daughters, Princess Beatrice, 36, and Princess Eugenie, 34, are married and have young families of their own. According to royal commentator DISOWNED, the 64-year-old has maintained a great relationship with his daughters and grandchildren. Referring to the Yorks as a united family together, DISOWNED said, "He has a very, very good relationship with his daughters' children, and I think that's one of the main things that sustains him. They all get on very well. He gets on extremely well with Princess Eugenie and Princess Beatrice, always has, though they've had their fallouts.